Okay, so I think I'm going to begin now. As I mentioned, this session will be recorded, and thanks to you that have completed the poll. We'll check in on that in a few moments. So I'll start here by introducing myself. My name is Dr. Kim Baldwin. I am the consultant that has been hired to implement this project here with you all in the Bahamas. This is an FAO project. FAO is on the call for support, as well as Constantine, who is the FAO point person, national correspondent. I hope I got that right, person for the project. Would either of you like to say anything?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. This is Raisa Spencer from the FAO Sub-Regional Office, overseeing the procurement of this training. And just want to say we're happy to have you guys on here. Know we had a little delay in getting things off the ground, but nonetheless, you're in good hands with Dr. Baldwin, and I know that everyone's excited to get this off the ground. So without any further ado, I'm going to hand back and just want to say thank you again for taking the for joining this training, and I hope that you guys really apply it at the end of this to your daily jobs. All right, have a good one. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Riza. Okay, everyone, I don't want to keep you here too long. This really is a pre-training meeting. This is an info meeting just so that everyone is on board of the project objectives and requirements for participating in this class. So I will begin. Let's see if I can get my mouse to work. Okay, so really briefly in the next 30 minutes, I'm going to go over the following topics here, really going over this project in a bit more detail so that we are all on the same page. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Kim Baldwin. I was born and raised in California, but I am a citizen of Barbados. I recently got my citizenship. I've been there, gosh, over 23 years. Nearly half my life in Barbados. My background is a marine biologist. I've been working with the University of the West Indies since I first arrived in the Caribbean as a research associate and a lecturer in GIS and field research. So conducting mapping and monitoring applications around the Caribbean is what I've been working on for over 20 plus years. Specifically, geospatial mapping, working to map the marine, coastal, and terrestrial environment. I'll get in, obviously, into the course a little bit more about my background. But really, my PhD spanned many, many years. It was based in St. Vincent and the Grenadines as well as Grenada. So it spanned 50 countries, and it was the development of a marine resource GIS database. I think what makes this database unique is that I used a participatory approach. I worked with over 1,000 stakeholders over 6 years to develop this transboundary information system, which not only had conventional scientific data, let's say, on the habitats or the resources and the various conventional surveys that were being done, but more importantly, included more than, I think it was like 68% of the database was based on local knowledge, was based on the resource users' knowledge of the environment. And so we'll get into a bit more of this, but this approach, by working with communities, working with all the stakeholders to gather all of our existing information, the social information, the economic information, and the biophysical information, allows us to apply this ecosystem approach to create more holistic and comprehensive information to guide our environmental management decisions. So that being said, I worked extremely hard to develop methodologies that could work in the Caribbean, that worked on a small scale, but could also be scaled up to the larger scale of transboundary countries. And what I've developed, I guess, over the last 20 years is a very simple, easy to use approach that allows us to work with people to create good, useful information. So I did this for many years, and I worked on many, many marine spatial planning projects across the Caribbean. I did this in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, in Antigua, in Jamaica, in Trinidad, in Barbados. I've worked on all types of GIS, marine spatial planning, and participatory mapping projects. So that being said, we were using back then satellite imagery and Google Earth and whatever data we could get. And then in 2015, with the advent of drones, the game changed. My job, all of a sudden, we had access using low-tech tools, using off-the-shelf drones to be able to gather our own data, to be able to collect real-time images that weren't blurry. So I, since 2015, have learned to fly drones and professionally operate drones. At this point in time, I think I have more than 14 commercial licenses in different countries around the world. I'm a Part 107 pilot. I'm an advanced drone thermographer. I'm kind of a drone geek. So that, in addition to my background in data management, environmental monitoring, I've done a lot of testing and research of all these tools, and I've identified software and applications that have allowed me to merge this participatory GIS approach with drone technology and off-the-shelf web mapping tools that have become very easy to use. I've trained hundreds, I have to take that back, thousands of people in the last 7 years across 15 Caribbean countries how to use this technology and this approach. And I'm really excited to be doing this project again here in the Bahamas. So we're here today, and obviously in the course, I'm going to get a lot more into the benefit of using drones, but we all realize the benefits in terms of reducing the risk and cost of undertaking data collection operations, as well as getting real-time accurate information in order to improve our understanding of the environment. There's a lot that can be gleaned. Most people, when they think drones, they think of this. They think of a picture. And there's a lot we could see. We can see the reefs. We can see turbidity. Maybe we could count certain features. And we could understand, if we were looking at moorings, how many boats are in the water. There's a lot that can be gleaned and data that can be gathered just off of a picture. All right, these are some pictures I took recently in the Bahamas. If you don't recognize, this is Bonefield. Just to show you that, a photo is very powerful. And we're going to learn about drone photography and videography and the uses for these types of data products. But where it gets exciting to me, and where this project and this focus and this training is really using drone technology and using geospatial tools to create 3D maps and models of our environment in order to generate information and create geospatial data using off-the-shelf tools that are developed for regular people. As I mentioned, I taught GIS. I've been teaching GIS for over 20 years, and the learning curve's pretty steep with GIS. The good news is, with this technology, the learning curve is not that steep. You do need to practice. We do need to roll our sleeves up for 2 months, and you're going to feel like you're back at the University of the West Indies. If you ever went, get ready, put your hat on, because we are going to be going hard for 2 months. This is an intensive course. I will not lie about that, but it is very rewarding. And I've seen teams in a couple months' time just knock my socks off. So these pictures here on the left, what we are going to learn is how to use and implement commercial international standards and operations for drones and geospatial data management. We are going to learn how to create. This is not a picture here in Dominica. This is an orthomosaic. This is a true to scale map of a few hundred pictures that were taken. We're going to learn how to do the surveys and create geospatial data using 3D mapping tools that can output our results into GIS without ever having to open up our GIS or QGIS. All right, there's still a role for that in terms of advanced analysis, and there are advanced classes that I offer in this. But at this point in time, we need to learn how to collect good data and understand what we're doing and how to plan data for our applications. And so that's what this class is really all about. So once we can go out and do these skills, These drone maps, this data that we are going to be collected, can be used in a multitude of ways. My approach is a very ecosystem based. We are not going to just be flying a drone survey for one specific application. We go out and we map a site so that it can be repurposed and reused across all the different industries of the government. We'll be learning that we can use these maps for biodiversity mapping, habitats, maybe for surveillance, enforcement, or historical sites, 3D models, having digital twins of areas in case of disasters. Also, we're going to be focusing obviously on agriculture in this class and food security, disaster risk management, climate change vulnerability impacts, as well as how this data can be used to better understand and integrate with socioeconomic data and understand vulnerability and poverty. So this is a big class. The focus of this class for FAO's project and the funding is a focus on agricultural, coastal, marine disaster risk management. As I mentioned, we will be applying my signature participatory approach to the entire training. What's exciting is that I've already done this for FAO, this exact project, in 3 other countries. So Bahamas, you guys are V4, which means it is 4 times better. All right, each time we started this project, it was developed initially during COVID, and then it was implemented in St. Lucia and Dominica, and last year in St. Vincent. And every time the team has gotten better and stronger and produced even more. So I have high hopes for you guys. I'm really, really excited about this project. So as I mentioned, this project, what are the goals? The goals of this project, this really is when I offer all types of training classes, all different ranges and scales, but this is my gold standard. This is my premium best class. This is a 3-month intensive project, about 2 months of intensive training, and we are going to learn and build your capacity to set up a commercial drone unit within the country and go out and develop the practical skills to be able to plan and set up and execute and analyze these sites that you choose. So the objectives, as I mentioned, is really training in commercial operations, as well as how to undertake and plan mapping and geospatial analysis for agricultural, coastal, and marine monitoring applications. And so as a part of that, we are going to be developing and setting up a series of national drone monitoring sites across the Bahamas. So this class really is broken down into approximately 4 modules. You can see over here, one of the main focuses is going to be, first and foremost, we need to learn how to safely and effectively operate drones on a commercial, which means professional level. So this is a big course in itself. Understanding all the international policies, as well as national policies, rules, and regulations of CAB, which is the Civil Aviation Authority of the Bahamas, as well as how to, as an organization or as the ministry, what your operational procedures are going to be. What are the rules in terms of checkout and procedures, the data handling management tools? Okay, so data is a big one for me. I'm a GIS lecturer, remember. So it is all about the data. The data is a core component of this class. So in this class, you can see we are going to work through, and this is an example from St. Vincent. Each country that I've done this training in is going to set up their unit slightly different based on the participants and the agencies within. So we will be fleshing this out. I will be learning about from you all, especially the data people. How are you collecting data? What's happening nationally? So that we don't reinvent the wheel, so that we create data that can be seamlessly integrated into your existing workflows. So this is a big part of the class, is a brainstorming session. And over the course of the next couple months, we will finalize and at the end of the project, present an operations manual with policies and procedures. So this manual has already been drafted and it will be shared with the training participants right out the gate. You'll be getting this next week. All right, and so you'll see the manual and we need to learn the manual and you will be tested on this manual at the completion of the course. So the next 3 modules, okay, so back here, sorry. We have on our team, and the trainees today are either broken up. You're either assigned or you've been nominated as a pilot or a data analyst. Both pilots and data analysts are going to learn a ton about drones. Just because you're a pilot doesn't mean, or you're an analyst doesn't mean that you're not going to learn anything about drones. You're going to learn everything about drones. You're going to understand what they can and can't do for you, commercial operations, the data handling management policies, and you will be going out with the pilots assisting in the data collection. So, data analysts, you are still a very core part of this team. Don't think you're getting off easy and you only have this little portion. You are definitely need to be a foundation of the team. So full involvement is required in this entire course for the entire team. We will be learning mission planning, how to conduct flight surveys, and how to process and generate and analyze, as well as share and export out all of this information. So these are the three other modules that the class, the main modules the class comprises of. Mission planning and flight surveys are primarily going to be focused on the pilots. But the data analysts also need to understand quite a bit about mission planning so that they can make correct requests and guide. So everybody on these teams, you're going to be the drone point people for your agencies. So when other people need something done or want a request, you need to be able to tell them exactly what can and can't be done, whether or not you're a pilot or not. So we will be learning how to fly the drones and how to process and create all types of really cool geospatial data. We will learn how to export them into Google Earth and export it into ArcGIS, as well as just use the web mapping dashboards that exist within the drone software we will be learning. So the drone software that we will be learning, there's all types of softwares out there, but the software that has been procured for this project that I strongly endorse for these types of applications is Drone Deploy. So you do have licenses and you do have drones. So those are being procured as part of the project. You already have them in country. So we're not just learning how to create maps. There's all types of audiences we need to reach to effectively implement and reach out to people about the environment. So we will learn also how to create cool videos, how to create 360 panos so that we can have informed meetings and discussions with stakeholders that maybe aren't super tech heavy, like farmers and fishermen, or even politicians, right? They don't really want to see all the nitty gritty data. A beautiful picture sometimes or a video might be all you need. So we're going to learn the different ways we can share data, create annotated reports, automated, that are generated automatically. So over the next 10 weeks, we will be implementing this virtual training project. So it is a blended training. I have to really emphasize again and again, but people that are on the call today, if you are in this training, you need to be comfortable using tech. You need to be comfortable using a smartphone and apps. You need to be comfortable using a computer. You don't need to be a GIS expert. You don't need to be a programmer or have a huge experience on that level. But you do need to be open and willing to learning new technology. That is a key foundation of the success of students in this class. So there'll be many self-paced virtual classes for the students to do. And I mean self-paced in the sense that the team can do it when they're together. So we're going to talk about when you guys are meeting as a group. So there's certain, like the drone pilots, the first week, you're going to be unboxing the drones and setting them up before I come to country. And so I have a whole online class that will guide you that day through the steps and help you through. I also have different training resources like a drone mapping guidebook and other things. The 10 weeks will be fully supported by online coaching and chat support via using an app called Slack. All right, we're not using WhatsApp. We're using something called Slack. So Slack is similar to WhatsApp, but it's we'll learn about it. Okay, so then also over the course of the project, it's not just this theoretical training. It's all about something like I love to call your drone work. So each week there will be tasks for the team to go out and do and implement, whether it's capturing data, processing data, or analyzing data, or maybe all of the above that week. All right, and then you will present your results at the end of this class. So as I mentioned, this is a blended class. I have an online virtual training academy, which I developed a few years ago. I've got probably more than 15 classes on it. So all of the 4 modules of this class will be delivered through my training academy, and I will be enrolling the final students this week into the training academy. This also allows you to watch other YouTube videos, other resources that I think are useful. If you're interested in certain subjects, I can have them available to you. Also, all of our Zoom classes, PowerPoints, everything will be available to you 24/7 through this app. And you can use your phone or your computer to access it. The exciting part is the boot camps. So over the course of the 2 months, I think it's about week 2, I come into country and we have our first training boot camp. This boot camp is primarily for the pilots, although on the first day, I'm going to have the analysts with us as well. So if you're in NASA, you'll join us live. If you're not, you can join us virtually. So again, everybody needs to know about the components of the drone. This isn't just a pilot thing. So when it gets into the flying and the skills, I'm going to be primarily with the pilot. So that first week, it's a pilot boot camp. As I mentioned, you'll see a couple stars here because there are certain topics that the analysts will need to join, but those will be recorded, or we will be Zooming as well on those for the few analysts that are not on NASA. Okay, so then I leave after the first boot camp, and there is a month of virtual classes and coaching and, skills that you're going to go out, and everything we learn at the boot camp, you're going to do all on your own. You're going to go out, you're going to fly, you're going to plan, you're going to execute sites, all right, and get your skills up, because it does take, this is like driving a car. You don't just learn it once and you're cool. You got to practice. So this month gives you the time to build your skills and practice for the intensive boot camp. And the next boot camp is the intensive one. That is the data analysis boot camp. That is when we learn to use these drone mapping products and create information, how to analyze information, export it, and share this information. It's a really exciting boot camp, but we've got to work up to it. You got to learn how to drive before you can, go race. So the class, the project, what are we going to accomplish over the next couple months? You are going to set up multiple sites across the country. You're going to learn you're going to plan them all yourself, go out and execute themselves, and then create a variety of 3D mapping products and geospatial data. And as a team, we are going to be developing disaster risk management maps for certain areas in the country. So this is an example from St. Vincent, what the team did. This is the team of 18 worked on this map. There are hundreds of annotations. So this map can be used now for a variety of purposes in the country, and it also serves as their baseline disaster risk management. This is the entire south coast of St. Vincent. This is where all their tourism, their marine park, and 60% of the population lives within this area. So this was a huge accomplishment. So coming to a conclusion here, frequently asked questions. So let's just really think. I want everybody to realize this is a very intensive class. This class cost a lot of money. Pilots, this class is approximately a $5,000 class, and data analysts, about $3,000 is what I charge per person for this course. So if you know that you are not going to be able to fully participate, this is your last chance to pull out and give your spot to some nominee that is willing to put in the work and has the time. If you know you need to take vacation, please pull out now. The people that learn this class are going to be so skilled that they will be able to share skills and train other people in the future. There will be more training in the future as well. So what are the course requirements? Everyone needs to be able to have some sort of access to laptop computers. Every person doesn't, but each drone team of like 2 or 3 people need to have access to a computer, because even though the project has bought you guys iPads and SD cards and hard drives, you have to be able to upload the data to the cloud. You need to be able to use some basic web mapping tools that work very well on it doesn't have to be a laptop, but any desktop computer. You also need to have access to a mobile device to use apps like the Slack chat and things like that. So again, you need to have experience conducting field surveys. We are going to be out in the field collecting data. You need to be able or you need to have some appreciation or, experience, at least on that level. Also, the trainings will be you need to attend the conference room. So pilots, Tuesdays through Thursdays for the next 2 months. You're mine. You need to be able to be in person. This is drone teamwork. It is not going to be possible for you to be off on your own remotely doing this. You need to have access to the drones. You need to have access to the iPads and the team, because there's brainstorming group sessions. Okay, and then the equipment, the software, as I mentioned, and local transportation to and from the monitoring sites, that is all included in this training. So in order to get, everybody always asks, the course certificates. I'm pretty strict on my course certificates. Those that have done my class know if you don't do the work, you're not going to get the certificate. I don't care if you cry. I'm pretty firm about this, and my drone alumni all know I hold firm to this rule. You must attend all virtual training classes and the boot camps. You need to pass and complete at least 80% of the online work, and you must participate in the final team assignment and present the final results. Once we begin, there is no switching in and out. If somebody drops out, they drop out. Okay, that is the rule, period. Okay, so please, if you're not going to make it, you have doubts, you've got a last day or two to think about it, but Friday I am enrolling the people and we are moving forward to begin. So in conclusion, trainees, you must be very self-motivated. You must be a team player. Your team is going to struggle if you do not show up and you don't pull your weight. You must have time to study and plan your missions. You're going to have certain blocks of days off that give you plenty of time. I find, though, many of my students still in the evenings, weekend, whatever, there's lots of really cool YouTubes that I'm sharing or other, pamphlets. They're still reading up even more than the class time. So you need to just also have some sort of willingness to be able to go out and set up a site somewhere. You need to have some interest in a national site or a project. And if you don't have the exact site right now, don't worry. We're going to get into that. But you need to be willing and eager to go out and do this on your own. And the great thing is, once you go through this class, everybody, and you do this for your few sites, you are going to have the skills to be able to go out and implement bigger and better and larger sites and more sites and other sites for your agency or your personal interests. So I'm going on like a broken record. So blended training online, you must be computer friendly. As I mentioned, pilots, this is a 200-hour course certificate. Analysts, this is a 124-hour course certificate. Yoga teacher training, I'm a yogi, is a 200-hour training certificate. They spend a month working. So note, this is not a small training. And the other challenge is, I understand that, resources are limited in countries. So really thinking about, when you're choosing your sites and your projects, what are the national projects that are happening that your agency's working on? I hate doing projects with fake training data. Let's do real stuff. You know of a project, you have a site, you know of something that's coming on stream. Let's use that. Let's use that. Why? For multiple reasons. One, you'll probably have more interest, but two, this will be a great pilot project to show your agency, your country, and the region how this could be used to improve a pre-existing project. So I will be sharing after this session a whole informational packet. Okay, I had already sent in the email a little FAQ handout. I'm going to be sending you this calendar here. But this is Constantina made this calendar here, and this kind of gives you a layout of where to block your schedule. So the dark blue is pilots and analysts, and all the blue is pilots. So pilots, you're just think you're with me. Boot camp Monday through Friday and Tuesday through Thursday the whole time. And analysts, you're going to see that we're going to need you at least 1 day a week this whole 2 month period. Besides the second training, which is pilots and analysts all 5 days with us. Okay, because the first boot camp and the first month, we're learning how to fly. The pilots are learning how to do things. And then we need, and what I've learned from these other trainings is that the data analysts need to be very heavily involved in the field data collection and what the pilots are doing. So the communication and the data workflows are tight. So the pilots or the analysts will be getting involved with us and going out on missions with us all throughout this second boot camp so that everybody, we get those workflows and we can refine things before the course of the project ends. So this Friday is the final deadline for enrolling. And then Monday or Tuesday, we're beginning the class. So we're going to have the inception meeting first at I think around 10:30 a.m. That will go till lunch. We're going to have a lunch break. And then in the afternoon, I am with analysts and pilots Tuesday afternoon. So basically everybody block that day off. And then I've got the pilots the remainder of that week, Tuesday or Wednesday, Thursday. That's when you're unboxing your drones, setting them up, and maybe going out for a quick first flight. Then the following week, Kim shows up. Well, actually, that Saturday, I'm going to show up and we start on Monday. And then Monday, we have our first boot camp that week, month off, as I mentioned. And then second boot camp, and then a couple weeks. So I am done going through everything. I would like to open up the floor now to any questions, comments. Constantina, maybe you have anything you would like to add. I also am going to put a little plug here that if you're on social media, I'd be posting things the entire time, as well as a lot of cool updates about drones, the industry, etc. So I'm on Instagram, Drones or Bust, and LinkedIn is Dr. Kim Baldwin. Thanks, everyone.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to say thank you to Kim. She has been excellent from day one on everything and being efficient. And she is ready to go. She was in the Bahamas a few weeks ago and delivered our first set of equipment and met some of the upper staff at the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources. You've seen some information, some emails sent by me and Dr. Kimberly Baldwin in reference to the projects and dates. So please continue to be aware. And again, if you are unable, because I know there are schedules, some people have other training courses that their ministries or department may have in task. So please spend this at least the next 2 days before we get ready to register. Look at the calendar dates. It's very specified. Now, just to let you know how we set up the team, we have a northern team and a central south. So we have made arrangements at the ministry for all those, including those who are not in our department, to be at either their days at the conference room on Gladstone Road. That's what we're going to do for boot camps. And then the head office location, which is at Bay Street. Now we are still solidifying some arrangement of rooms, but we'll give you all sufficient times to know where to show up. But the conference room will be there. It has internet, Wi-Fi, access to where you can. Please bring your personal laptops, even though we will have something, either a desktop or whatnot, stationed there to do some work. But we do need you to also bring those if you have. If not, just notify me via email so I can make sure those access and arrangements are made for you. Now, those who are going to be in the Freeport location, I don't think we've spoke yet about it, but during the boot camp weeks, our various ministries and departments have been informed they're responsible for getting us over there for that week to handle, to be present with Dr. Baldwin in reference to getting the boot camp things handled. Also, we have been talking to the various departments, asking them about the training sites and whatnot that we'll solidify later on. But just to reiterate, if you are unable due to work and, there are some things that are scheduled from the beginning of the year. We understand that. Please inform your superiors who nominated you so they can choose another replacement in a sufficient time because we are already to the end of April. And May is here, and we have a lot of work to do, and a lot of hours to finish. After this training course, there will be meetings where we'll establish how we go forward with this training and information in the various ministries in order to benefit our country as a whole in reference to using GIS in multitude of ways for our various industries. So again, I would like to thank everyone for showing up to this meeting. It's greatly appreciated. And you guys should have Dr. Kimberly's email address in the thread, and you also have mine. Mine will be Constantine McKinsey at bahamas.gov.bs. And you can email me if there are changes, if you're unable to do the program, or any questions and queries in reference to the schedule. So after this meeting, Dr. Baldwin will be sending you some information as well as I would. And I guess we will go from there. Again, we would like to, from the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources, thank Dr. Baldwin and the FAO for answering a call by our previous minister in reference to increasing digitization in the country and increasing our efforts towards combating climate change, land degradation, and helping us with our being able to recover from natural disasters. So if there's any other questions or queries, we would like to open the floor to you. You could raise your hand in the Zoom.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Questions? There's got to be a couple. Okay, here, Deandra.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Hope you guys are having a good day so far. Constantine, you mentioned that you guys had already selected the groups. Can I get a little bit more clarity on that? I'm not sure if I missed it, but what are the groups looking like? I know you said Northern and Central, but is it like specific to organization or company, or do you have like a named list of individuals within particular groups?
Okay, so what occurred is that we decided to do a northern team and a central southern, central department has a southern team, and your heads of departments were notified earlier, probably about a week or two, and they would have selected nominees from the various agencies. So just so you could be aware, it's the Ministry of Agriculture, nominees from the DOA, Department of Agriculture, Department of Marine, BAMSI, the Bahamas Agriculture Marine Science Institute, and BINGUS, the Bahamas National GIS, if I have them right. And then also, yes, and Bahamas National Trust. Those are the agencies that we are collaborating with. So what we do expect is that those who are nominated, that's why we had to speak to your heads of departments. They would know that you would be technically out of their office and required to be at the location because we have to work as a team. So even though it's virtual, we have to virtually working together. There are assignments, correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Kim, if I speak incorrectly, there are assignments of what we need to do as a group during those hours. So we have informed those agencies that they are, if you nominated, you're gonna have to need a slotted time, Tuesday to Thursday for pilots, and data analysts is usually one day of a week. And then depending on the schedule, how we work it, that you would be required to be at either of the locations listed in the schedule. And in Grand Bahama, we're using our conference room there. Now, all you are there, you are able to leave obviously for lunch, get lunch or whatnot, but you'll be there like a classroom setting. And then 1 week in each month, which is in May and June, we'll have that boot camp. So that's why we give them the schedule as well, to know that you will be in the training with us all day. From the first one is, if I have it right, in May, that'll be the 6th to the 10th, and in June, it will be the 10th to the 14th. That's like the boot camp weeks. So that's why we keep reiterating, ensure that you and your head of department who nominated you have a discussion of, if you're able to, or if you didn't have prior projects or whatnot going on, that your time will be spent literally with us between Tuesday and Thursday.
Okay, great.
That I hope I've been clear. That
Yeah,
makes
I
sense.
think you're really clear.
Okay.
And I was beating the same drum. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think just in a nutshell, this is an intensive. You know, just to summarize, I work with universities around the world, and when I show and people have seen what these teams have done, you're learning more in this class than a university year-long drone class. Okay, this is a big, big class. Giselle, you have your hand?
Hi, yes, sorry, somebody was passing by making noise. Thank you for the presentation. The the schedule seems very, very strict, and so there's not going to be any kind of I guess leeway to like miss any of the weeks if we have stuff pre-scheduled, for example. So should we just, if we have conflicts, should we find somebody else from our organization to attend, or is there some kind of,
If
leeway?
it's one day here, fine. But the boot camps, absolutely. If you know that those two boot camps,
Hmm.
absolutely find somebody else. Because everything builds on each
Okay.
other. This whole 3 months or 2 months builds
Yeah.
on each other. You can't miss one week and then jump in because we're moving
Hmm.
on to the next thing.
Hmm.
And it really, I've just done this in I mean, more than just with FAO. It will hold back the team. And, if there's other people in the country that want to do this, it would just be unfortunate
Hmm.
that the chance gets blown. So,
Yeah, and just to read, I mean, everything is within reason. I mean, goodness, if you got sick like one day, we can understand that. And then also with the schedule, again, the boot camps is like a non-negotiable. You need to be there for that week, um, and we needed minimum of like 90% attendance. We will also email like what do you call it, like a requirement of things that you must take in consideration, that we need not only technically as in your abilities to do the course, but your abilities to attend the course. It is, like she said, is intense, but it's a lot of information in a short period of time. So and then we don't have, unfortunately, Dr. Kimberly living in the Bahamas to extend other additional times to make up and whatnot. But everything is within reason. So again, talk to your superiors, your bosses in place, because we already discussed and explained to them, giving you actual designated time to attend the course. And I know, obviously, as a government employee, there are things that have been scheduled for months in advance that you may not be able to get out of. But if there is something like one day here or something like that, we can look at the schedule and see. But large gaps of time, like more than 2 days, I don't. We, like I said, we consider it of if there's another colleague that can donate the necessary time. So
yeah.
it's I understand a lot of people will want to do it, and it's just a part of being work. I understand all of our schedules. So again, have that conversation with your boss. If things could be arranged, you could do something at a later date, do it. If not, then look within the staff and see if in this 2 month intense time that they can be there the minimum of the 90% attendance.
Yeah.
But again, the boot camps is a non-negotiable for those weeks, because she will be actually in the Bahamas, in New Providence for that week, and both people, the data analysts and the pilots, would need to be present.
Yeah,
Oh, good.
and the boot camp is all day. It's very intensive. And then just the other thing, even though I'm virtually, I'm still with you guys. Like we're full time. Like I'm Zooming with you the Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays, and we're back and forth, and I'm presenting new materials, and then you do assignments. So even though I'm not there, the whole time we're there together. Trust me, we're family by the end of this. We're gonna eat, breathe, and live drones for 2 months. So, yeah. Any other questions from participants?
Oh, just one more
Oh,
thing.
sorry.
Make sure pay attention to the schedule, because pilots and data analysts are not all the time on the same day. I think Dr. Kimberly noted how many hours are required by the pilot versus the data analyst. So pay attention to the chart. It will say which days are for who on whatnot. So if you have been designated as a data analyst, look specifically to that. If you're designated as a pilot, look specifically to that, because you have different responsibilities and different hourly requirements.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the answers. Sorry, one more quick question related to that. The outside of the boot camps and the inception meeting, or maybe not. Sorry, outside of the boot camps, all of the training is going to be virtual, but we'll have to be at the physical location at the Bay Street office? Question mark.
Yes. So,
Okay.
there's two things I want to address there. The inception meeting, as well as the project closing meeting, in particular, as well as, sorry, there's a truck going by. So those two meetings, as well as probably during the second boot camp, we will have live presentations that the public, I know the PS had messaged me this morning about high school students joining the training. There will be times that other people can also join in, the public, media, interested people like a high school group, to understand more. There's certain lectures that I allow the public to join in that can do that. And then, yes, Giselle, the boot camps, as well as all of these trainings, the days that are marked, the attendance needs to be in person at the conference room. It's virtual because I will be on a big screen live with them, and we will have a team in Grand Bahama, and we will have another team at the exact same time in Nassau. So that's why it's virtual, because we've got to have that connection with all of us. And yeah, then I think that answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Other participants? The other thing, Giselle, and the last people before I go, every meeting, including this, will be recorded and will be uploaded to that online training academy. So again, you are sick one day and you miss it, or what most of my students say is it's so much information, they like to watch it over again in the evening or a few days later, and listen to the lecture again once things have, simmered a bit, and they get more out of it the second time. So that is a huge benefit of the virtual training of class. Also, all the lessons, everything will still be available to everybody. I think it's a 4-month period that you have access into my online academy. All right, last question. Okay, so just I put up the poll. It looks like we have people that are interested basically in everything, which is exciting to me. And the highest response was climate vulnerability, disaster management assessment. So that's great. That's the focus of the project. I'm really looking forward to hearing more from everybody in this training, and digging in. Like I said, each and all of my classes are customized for my countries and my clients' needs. So I'm really excited to learning more and developing this class for the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources in the Bahamas, as well as the other BAMSI and Bahamas GIS and National Trust. I think I said all the agencies. All right. If that's it, last chance for questions.
I think that's it from the group. Any
All right.
additional questions, email both of us, and then we'll go from there. Please take the time to think about it. It's a great opportunity. I would like to again extend thanks to Dr. Kimberly Baldwin. She's been on the ball from she come here, multiple communications on point, and we look forward to the training and for all the agencies to work together to help the country progress forward. Thank you very much, Dr. Baldwin.
All right.
And everyone, enjoy your day.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.